those things stay with you. Those things don't.
How hard is it going through those?
It's not easy, and I'm the kind of guy that again, I pride myself on this again because you know me pretty well that if I'm going to invest myself into doing something like that, I'm going to invest myself. This person
you went
here,
to Ukraine, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh
During
my God.
during the
Yeah.
war.
Yeah. There was a little time there. Yeah. I through the 𝐓𝐡𝐞 and we got to I got to see what that whole thing was about. I remember picking up what I thought. I'll stop here with this. I remember picking up what I thought was a doll's arm, and it wasn't a doll's arm. I'll stop there with that.
Wow.
But
it was a baby's arm.
Yeah.
Wow. So, for anyone not out there that is trying to understand the situation in Ukraine war,
they are fighting for us. You have, and it still goes on. I saw the piece on 60 Minutes last night, and I was the with me were the 𝐓𝐡𝐞 brothers. I mean, through the boxing connection, and to see what these people are genuinely going through, and it was amazing. They're amazing people. I'll stop there.
So you're talking about. So why did you originally go there? What was it about?
Just to find out what was going on behind the scenes, and there's still some things there that again I can't get into. That
I know, boxing world and whatnot. So I was just curious as to what you were going there for. What was there a story?
Yeah, just to find out basically through the connection of the 𝐓𝐡𝐞, just to find out what was happening there. And basically the heartache that these people go through, which is unfathomable. I mean, this is all like boom. This is a delicacy. All this is a delicacy. The toilet paper is a delicacy. A bottle of water is a delicacy. And we saw that like last night, for example. I think it might have been Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes that went back over to visit and spend time with the Ukrainian president. And you see a moment there where they caught the Ukrainian president. It was supposed to be off camera, but for a second there, he turns away. Scott Pelley thought it was just for effect, that maybe the Ukrainian president was thinking about, let me turn around and my sour face. But I think it's real. I think it's genuine. I mean, this man feels the blood and pain of his people. And again, we are now, the United States is plunging billions, not millions now, billions into what's going on here. And to realize.
It's become their war. It's become the United States war, essentially.
In some regards, yeah. And we.
The way it seems to me is if the United States is putting all the money up, right?
Yeah, we're helping them. Yeah.
Well, when you do that, and it becomes not just helping, but you essentially are providing the amounts of billions and billions and billions and billions, constantly new packages sent out. It's their war. It's become literally the United States war.
You could say in a way they're fighting our war as a proxy.
Yes, that's what essentially I was getting to.
Much like in a way you had Korea, they were our that was our blood. That was U.S. blood.
That was U.S. blood.
And
a little bit different.
Vietnam, but whereas Russia was backing the North Vietnamese during the Vietnam War, how China backed the North Koreans during the Korean War, we are backing the Ukrainians like we backed Afghanistan when Russia had invaded Afghanistan. So you have a lot of this going on, and Putin is reaching and grabbing and so desperate that he has prisoners fighting, out there as a way, for their freedom. I like to think that it's going to be solved. I like to think that
I do. I'm with you. I think the most important thing,
I don't
getting people to stop dying and getting it settled.
And it doesn't come up unless we educate ourselves. And apparently, I can also say this, Matt. There's not a hell of a lot of people educated in this country. They don't. I mean, they see they see the 2 inches in front of their face, and that's all they see. Like I said, that piece on 60 Minutes was important last night because it shows you we are still plunging a lot of money, a lot of resources into this. And right now, most of that is in the weapons. You know, it's almost a country of almost exclusively men. It's like man's world. You know, you have Copland, but this is like man land. You know, because the women, children, they're all out talking to 𝐓𝐡𝐞, talking to Alexander 𝐓𝐡𝐞, to your audience out there. He's a heavyweight champion. Talking to Lomachenko, who is a former lightweight champion. They are Ukrainian. They still go back. They still live there on occasion. But it's weird. I remember talking to 𝐓𝐡𝐞 and hearing something in the background, and him just going, "Oh, that's just a bomb." I can laugh now. I wasn't laughing then. But that's what they've come accustomed to day after day over there. And my fear, Matt, is
that's also the amazing part of being in the United States of America. We've never had a war on our soil. And people don't understand how...
Well, the Civil War, we were fighting ourselves.
Yes.
And the Revolutionary War.
From outside.
The Revolutionary War and the War of 1812 was the first real invasion, because technically speaking, we were not a country. But in 1812, the British thought they would get back, but they lost during the Revolutionary War. So yeah, we've had war on our soil.
We've had war, but not from outside forces necessarily. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, England tried to invade us.
Yes. Okay. 1812 and 200 years.
Yes, it's been a long while.
So we don't have war on our soil often.
No one's invaded us since England tried to invade us.
I mean, you could talk about Pearl Harbor and whatnot, but
yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah, and Hawaii wasn't a state then. Hawaii was not a state
for
then.
the most part.
And then we can kind of lean into 9/11. Oh, there you go, 9/11. I remember being, with Bernard Hopkins during that time. I mean, that was we were all supposed to be down there at that very area when that hit.
Wow.
And one of the rare times in his life, Hopkins was late, and Bernard Hopkins is never late for anything. And that morning, for some strange reason, he was late, and that set off a whole time frame of different things in terms of traveling, getting down there, the whole bit like that. And because Trinidad and Hopkins was supposed to take place Saturday, September 15th of that very week.
2 days after.
Yeah. And everything was supposed to be set up. Obviously, the terrorist attack happens. Everything happens where, again, that structure where, the sports world collides with the real world. And I remember going back down there and spending time with all people, again, Don King, and bringing us to ground zero. And I didn't think it would strike me the way it struck me. But I remember there's a glass enclosure there that was a walkway that was intact, but obviously all dusty and dirty from the World Trade Centers collapsing. And I remember, because I had to walk away. And we were down there in a fairly quick time. I think it might have been a week after it happened. And I also remember it might have been one of the firemen that told us, because there was a distinct smell that I will never, I got that smell again. I got that smell in a certain particular foreign country very recently. But I remember asking the fireman, what the hell is that smell? He says, this is the smell of a battlefield, man. I mean, you got, granted, I mean, these bodies were destroyed. There were hardly any, these bodies were torn apart. But it's still that smell of a battlefield, and that's the smell that it had, which will never leave my nostrils.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.